Today we're going to be installing into the computer room a brand new Hampton Bay Chatham ceiling fan in the white painted finish. Ow! Oh man! I just dropped the box on my finger on top of the... Oh man, it's turning all red. On top of the... whatever that is. Great. Tonight we're going to be installing a brand new Hampton Bay Chatham 52-inch ceiling fan in white painted finish here into the computer room. The Chatham is one of my most coveted childhood fan models. We'll get into some of those stories as we proceed with the installation. In here currently we have a Casablanca. I believe this is a 4 season something or other. I like these, they're good fans. They look nice, they perform nice. I've gotten a good amount of use over this, out of this over the summer. So now it's time to swap it out for something else. Let's see which side. I think that little notch there indicates that this is the part of the hang false canopy that comes down individually. I gotta go get one of those smaller screwdrivers. I actually have a Casablanca branded screwdriver for dealing with those canopies, but I don't know where it is. So we'll just use a Taco branded screwdriver. Isn't that like a toy brand? What the heck is it making a screwdriver for? Ow. Stupid knee. Okay. Let's try again. The power of the right tool. I guess we should take the blades off first. Would make more sense. We'll be using this before we know it. It's just about Christmas time. Already almost halfway through September. Now these irons, somehow, by some miracle, are still in excellent condition, so I don't want to stack these at all. Don't want to get any scratching on here. So we'll just lay them out individually on the table. And put this fall through piece over there. So the Chatham ceiling fan. I have been around Hampton Bay ceiling fans pretty much my entire life. In the first place that we lived in it was an apartment, I believe. Or it was a house, but I think we rented it like it was an apartment. And it had... I gotta dig up the pictures for this. I should do a video on these pictures if I can find them all. They might actually be still on... I'm not even sure that they're digital pictures. They might be on like paper. But the house had... I think it ended up having 4 ceiling fans in it. I know I had the multicolor little hugger from Walmart in my bedroom at that house, and then we had like the mainstays version of a Littleton in the sunroom. I think that we put those there, and then we took them when we moved out. And then the fans that I guess came with the house that we left, where there was one in the kitchen, and it was a Hampton Bay Minuet, the older version with the half moon irons. And in the main bedroom that my parents dwelled in had a polished brass Chatham. And I remember, I don't have too many memories from that house because that was very early on. But I remember, I don't know what the occasion for this was, but I just remember this one blip in time where my father had taken apart the fan, and I just remember playing with the blades for some reason. And I also remember there was occasions where my grandmother would come over, and she would, I guess, get me off the bus, and then I would go to her house for the evening when my mother would work late. And before we would leave, my grandmother and I would go through the house, because I couldn't reach the ceiling fans obviously at that age. We would go through the house, and my grandmother would turn on all the ceiling fans for me. I don't know why that was perceived as a good idea at the time, but that's just what we did. And we did that quite a number of times, I think. And when I would go home later, I would be able to go in the bedroom and then flick the light switch on and I'd have the fan on. But anyway, so that was we had those 4 fans in that house. And then we moved out into the first house that we owned. The Walmart huggers, both of them, came with us. And sorry, my speech is so screwed up because I'm trying to do 2 things at once here. I had the multicolor hugger in my bedroom, and in my parents' bedroom was the white 4-blade 42-inch hugger. And then we bought a 3rd piece of junk ceiling fan from Walmart, which was, it was almost it wasn't identical to the multicolor one. It had the half moon irons. It was a 30-inch 6-blade hugger, and it was a terrible fan. I just remember it had a terrible hum to it, and it hardly moved in the air. It ran very slow, which is kind of unusual for those fans. Like the multicolor one that I had, it didn't move a lot of air around the room because it was just too small. But if you stood directly under it, it was quite a breeze. But not from that white hugger. It ran real slow, and it was loud too. Very loud hum on the motor. So we had those 3 junky fans for some time, and then as I got older, my mother painted the multicolor fan to be a different color scheme. I forget what it was now. I probably have pictures of it. And then at some point I started to really get interested in fans, and now I wanted to have one that was a better quality. I think that I don't know if it was just getting noisy or something happened where I can't remember if it was the bearings were getting noisy or the light globe kept vibrating or whatever the problem was, but something developed where it was getting noisy and I wanted it replaced. And so my mother always had this thing with big fans. She hated big fans. And that bedroom I had at that house, it was big. It was bigger than this bedroom. It was a good 12 by 12 at least, or more. And so of course the little 32-inch fan didn't do a thing in there. And when I wanted a better fan, I harassed her enough that she agreed to get a better fan. But I was bound to a 32-inch. And so that was how I ended up with the first minuet. So we went to Home Depot. I got the minuet, and you know, people are going to start talking, oh, Hampton Bay is junk. I found that fan was excellent quality, you know, coming from the Walmart thing, which was very noisy. That Hampton Bay was dead silent on low. You could not hear it, and it was a great fan. I still to this day think it's a very good quality product. So anyways, so I had that, and then later on, I forget when, but later on we replaced the fan in the middle room that had the cheesy white hugger. That was replaced with a San Marino. And then I think the last one to get replaced was the Littleton look-alike thing in the parents' bedroom. And that one got replaced with the Chatham. And I wanted that Chatham. But my mother said it was too big for the bedroom. These are wrapped in sets of 2. So that's how the configuration was for a while. We had the minuet in my room, the San Marino in the middle room, and the Chatham in my parents' room. And I actually have from the archives videos of all 3 of those fans. No, scratch that. Not of the minuet. I don't have an archive video of the minuet because that would have been replaced by then. What I did have though, I would have had the Hawkins. That's what I have an archive video on. So I used the minuet for several years, and then something came around again. I think the bearings started to get a little bit noisy, and so I wanted a bigger fan, a new fan again. And you know, it was the same ordeal with, oh, you got to have a small fan, blah blah blah. Which I don't know what it was about that. Small fan and white fan. You can never have anything brass. You can never have anything large. So eventually, we went to the Home Depot again, and we ended up buying a Hawkins, which was bigger, but I didn't like it that much compared to the Chatham. I still don't. And I forget exactly what happened now because it's been too many years, but something transpired where the Chatham was removed at the same time as the Hawkins. I think I might have partially convinced my mother to put the Hawkins in her room and put the Chatham in mine. Because I remember holding the motor housing up on the ceiling so she could see, and she said, oh no, that's too big, you can't do that. And so the Chatham went back into her room, and the Hawkins went into my room, and I wanted a Chatham ever since after that. And then we moved into the old location. Of course, I wanted a Chatham again, but I think by then it was wasn't even sold anymore. And the whole you know, it's got to be a small fan thing, was still going on. That didn't dissipate until sometime in like the mid 2010s. That went on for a long time, and then it just kind of faded away and she stopped caring. But so at the old location, or well, scratch that. Looking at the 2001, or well, the 2001 and many of the other ones following, the you know, one of the most traditional fans in that catalog, which I read a million times over when I was younger, was always the Chatham, and so I kind of took a liking to it for that reason. And then after having the white one and, you know, living with that one in the house, I always liked the brass fans. I saw brass would be great, and so I wanted to have the polished brass one. And then probably it was a 15 something years later, I ended up installing the brass one in my bedroom at the old location, and so that was that dream come true there. But now I want to use the white one because that's the actual one that I remember most of. And so here we are in my own house, where I can install whatever size and however many of whatever the heck ceiling fan I feel like. So we're going to do this. So this one is a little bit older than, I believe, the one that we had, because that one would have been purchased in '05, maybe, somewhere in there, mid 2000s. It was definitely newer than this, because it didn't have the sticker on it, which I like. So this is an SMC. Well, the bearings are quiet for now. SMC fans usually have bad bearings and a lot of hum. This one's from '99, so quite possibly the one at the apartment thing could have been this version. Does this have the yes, it does have the regular irons. That brass one that I have does not quite have these regular irons, and I don't particularly like it because it's not quite right. This one is 100% correct. It might not be the same OEM, but it definitely looks the same. Actually, I might just leave that wrap on there because we're gonna need it. This mounting apparatus is decent. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty good. It's easy enough to work with. And this box, of course, is super easy to work with because it's a little bit lower down from the ceiling. Okay, there we go. I don't even know which side is which on here. It don't really matter. The motor don't care. The light bulbs don't care. Eventually, I want to put wiring through the ceiling in here like normal, and have a total of 3 outlets on the ceiling, so I could do a single or a dual install. That might be a good winter project, or spring. You got to time it such that it's decent to work in the attic. It's too hot in the summer, too cold in the winter. Although if you get a really sunny day in the winter, it will warm up to kind of satisfactory temps. But then on the other hand, I like swag kits, and this is the only room that I would ever use one because the rest of the house has wiring, so I'm really not in any kind of rush to change it. Who knows, maybe I never will. I do have a habit of just not finishing things, although I'm trying to get better, particularly with video requests. I've got some video requests that have been sitting for years now, and I need to get better at that. Now this is not grounded, so we'll just stick that grounding wire up there. It's not going to serve any purpose, nothing for it to connect to. Stick all the wires up there. You got to make sure that they're out of the way, because this if the wires come down and they'll start hitting the motor and scraping and clicking and everything. So alright, that's that for the wiring. Let's take these screws out. Ah, the days when the hardware was brass. Just looks so much nicer in my opinion. Man, this thing is close to the ceiling. This has got like paper insulators here, and it's got the AccuArm slot, which the Hampton Bay haters of course make fun of, but I think it's excellent. It really does help installing the irons, especially when it's at an awkward angle. I would have much preferred these screws be in the bag with the blade screws. This is kind of dumb. This motor seems kind of small, but generally speaking, I thought the Chatham was a fairly strong fan. It was not as good as the what was the 5-blade one? The Carriage House. I think the Carriage House was more powerful. Does this have the comfort rating on it? I remember the 2001 catalog. I don't know how much after that, but they used to have comfort rating letters, and you know, letters closer to A were more powerful fans. It was supposed to like give you an idea of what fan you would need for a given size room. Oh wow, look at this. Back in the days when it came with a switch cap. I forgot about that. Hampton Bay used to include the switch cap, which I have mixed feelings about because it is a lot of material waste, but it was nice to have. I think the compromise would have been to sell these separately in the store. Nowadays they don't even come with them, and it kind of stinks. Where are the screws? Oh, here they are. It's funny this doesn't look that big anymore. When I was younger, this thing looked huge. No, that's dangerous. Alright, so here's the locking piece for the mounting apparatus. This system is okay. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely better than some of the other options out there. I think the Hunter system actually was the best. The one that had the 3 clips on it, like on the low profiles. I think that was one of the best systems I've ever worked with. This is pretty satisfactory too, though. That even seems to be kind of holding in place somehow. All these screws threaded really nice. I feel like this is still really a pretty decent quality product. I just hope it's quiet. I remember the Chatham that we had was completely silent on low, no motor hum at all. SMC is not a brand I associate with quiet fans, but who knows, maybe it's quiet. Bearings are certainly quiet, which is surprising. Oh, those screws are screwed in already too. Having this extra inch in here makes this a breeze to work on. So much easier than the rest of the boxes in the house. Now granted, the rest of the boxes are correct, you know, being flush with the ceiling, but this one's going to look a little weird, especially with the flush mount fan. What the heck is up with that? But it is what it is. Actually, it doesn't look all that bad. I'm sure once everything is assembled, it'll become even less obvious. Even these are threading in really easily. Lasco 2000 helping us out here. It's actually pretty warm in the house right now. It's 77 over 63. It's supposed to be in the 80s again tomorrow. Nice summer weather is hanging on. I think we should put the blades on before we put the light on. It'd just be easier to work with. And here's the blade screws. Nice. These are metal or ceramic? They're metal. Before the days of the cheesy plastic ones. Normally I like to do the bleached oak, but we're going to do white in this case because that's what we had. That's how I remember it. I wonder if this is faded at all. It's kind of like a grayish color in here. I don't particularly like it. I thought I remember it being more of a warm color. Not as bad as these Casablanca ones. They got no color at all. But it looks kind of gray to me. Everything's stinking gray now. Living in a monochrome world. Unreal. Yep, this is how I remember them. Really big, fat irons. Yeah, the pitch is unimpressive. I don't remember the Chatham being like super powerful. It moved decent air, but I don't recall it being anything too out of the ordinary. These have the concealed. Yeah, these are. I guess so. That must have gone back. I guess that went back pretty far. Started doing the concealed hardware even in the 90s. What the heck? The irons are like, I mean, they're all the same way, so I guess that's how it's supposed to be, but they're like totally bent. And that has got a piece of hair in it. Oh gosh, I gotta correct that. I guess I should have vacuumed the floor before we started doing this. I can't believe these rubber bands are still good after 25 years. That's impressive. Yeah, these are like that too. Look how they're like bent. That's really strange. Bizarre. Any hair? Nope. Looks like it came with one extra screw for the blades. Another thing that's kind of a waste of materials, but you don't see it anymore. That was almost catastrophic. Yep, the nostalgia is coming back. I used to see fans like this everywhere, even outside of the house. And then I'd say over the last about 10 years, it just slowly became extinct, which really stinks. This is set to very low torque. I think it's only on, what, 7? Screws are painted pretty good. Didn't really do any damage to the screws at all. Alright, now we can put the light on. And here we go again with the screws already being connected. Somehow adding paper inside where the electrical connections are is considered a good idea. Cannot explain that one. And that goes together pretty painlessly. Oh man, I remember putting this thing together back in the 2000s. This is bringing back some memories. Still got full-size E26 sockets there. No flaky candelabra or GU22, whatever the heck it is, bases. Just normal lights. Built to take 60-watt incandescent. We're gonna put 40 because that's just what I happen to have on hand in ceiling fan bulb format. Imagine that, a time where the tulip shades were still sold and still standard, all the way up to 1999. You're stuck in the box for 25 years and don't want to change. It's amazing these are only 25 years ago. In my lifetime, this was standard still. And now it's gone. Even the rubber bands around these globes are still good. Whatever OEM these were is excellent. It's really impressive. A potential install in the future, I'm not sure how far into the future, but a potential future install would be in the kitchen with 3 Chathams, one of each color. I do own that, so it is a possibility. It would look a little ridiculous to the outside, but as I said before, it's my house. I can install whatever ceiling fan I want. That's interesting. It just uses a second connector to hold the thing on. I think it was so much nicer when these came with the brass as opposed to the silver. Okay, there it is. So now we'll put the light bulbs in. Got brand new incandescent bulbs I just bought a couple weeks ago. Ceiling fan bulbs. Yeah, I'll cut with a dull side. Duh. No, looks like the sharp side ain't doing much better. What the heck's going on here with this plastic film? Incandescent. Incandescent. Operates in any position. Made in China. Fully dimmable, no special dimmer required. Ain't that nice? Just works with whatever you have. Don't gotta go out and spend more stinking money and change things and etc. etc. It just plain works. We use that one for general illumination somewhere else. Incandescent. Alright, that completes the install. Go ahead and plug this in. And we'll turn on the power. And there it goes. It does hum, but I'm not surprised. I kind of figured that would be the case for an SMC product. Actually, that's working better than I was expecting. For a flush mount, that's moving pretty good air. It's pretty quiet too, other than the hum. No wobble at all. Alright, well, there we go. Oh, medium is pretty hummy. So is low. It's quiet, it's done high. Well, after all these years, there it is, the white Chatham from 1999. I do want to preserve the box and the packaging, So we'll go ahead and put that away. Got the switch cap in there. We've got a balancing apparatus, some screws to screw it directly to the beam, some screws to screw it to the electrical box. I don't know why there's 3 screws there. Some barrettes. That stuff for the blades really isn't all that reusable. The bags, we can all reuse those. I wonder what OEM the ones from the 2000s were. I feel like it was still SMC, but I know that the other one was definitely quieter than this. But I sure do like it. That brings back a lot of memories, a lot of nostalgia in this model.